This is Stephanie Parrish, manager of the Docent program, and I'm standing here with Docent Gerri Hayes, and we're in the Northwest Galleries in one room dedicated to the artwork of C.S. Price.
And C.S. Price is just my favorite person up here, because not only just because he has a whole room, so you really get a feeling, a C.S. Pricey feeling.
Yeah, it's
but
nice.
Because he really is, I think, one of the first modernists from the Northwest.
Right. So he sort of made. I feel like he made a mark.
Right.
And we're looking at this piece, the Rough Riders,
the Riders of the Range.
The Riders of the Range.
Painted in 1933-34.
Right. So sort of Great Depression era, right before World War II.
WPA
time. Mm-hmm. So a moment of real uncertainty in a lot of ways, and in the art world, a time of enormous experimentation.
Yes, and he was one of the experimentors.
Right.
Yeah. Looking around this whole room, and I think it's fun to begin by doing that. You see that his palette he has a very certain palette.
Right. So talk about that. I mean, I see at this work these deep earth tones, the really like lush green of the lower right that kind of gives way to these browns and oranges and golds that sort of blend together, but then also have like very, very clear volumes. I mean, not clear, but they have this mass to them. The color is very weighty to me.
Right. It has texture.
Oh my God,
the color
yes.
has texture and vibrancy.
Right.
And there's a lot of brown here.
Right.
And you wouldn't think that, I don't think of brown as being a particularly easy color to show texture or to have kind of a sense of interest. It feels like a dark, brooding kind of color.
I mean, the center of the picture is these figures that are coming out towards us, right? I mean, we're kind of implicated in this because the way the paint is applied, there's a sense of movement, because there's this real thickness and this obvious like gesture of the artist's hand, and yet there's like this real isolation to me and this kind of loneliness in these figures.
It's almost a quintessential Western picture.
Yeah, right. It's like a place apart from the everyday,
Absolutely.
From New York. But the language, the visual language that he's using and the techniques, I mean, are so New York.
You think so?
Well, I mean, yeah, in some sense, because of, early abstraction, Georgia O'Keeffe and, this kind of, and because I guess the subject matter, here we are, out on the range, out on the natural world, horses and the people, kind of this blending, of man and nature.
Yeah, we're standing back probably 20 feet from this picture.
Right.
So let's walk toward it
Okay.
and see
what happens as we get closer. Right, it becomes almost, parts of it become really so abstract, like almost total abstraction.
It begins to sort of fall apart.
Absolutely.
Pull apart.
Absolutely. Yeah. He seems to be working through like a lot of different ideas. I think of the brightness of like fauvism.
You can so see Cézanne's influence. It's like he tries to capture the image or the essence of the image that he is focusing on, whether it's a mountain or a man on a horse or the whole entire picture all at the same time.
Right. When I look at this, I think of a lot of these early 20th century isms, futurism, or cubo-futurism, and I think of expressionism, of course.
One of the things that I noticed first about this is that the cowboys are almost of mythic proportion.
Yes.
The mountains or the hills that they're in are small scale.
Right.
So how does he create that
path?
That perspective that draws your eye into the wilds of the western mountain.
There is kind of this equality between the landscape and man's presence in the landscape. It's not like man is like this little small thing in this huge expanse, but this kind of coexistence in a harmony, I guess, is what I'm thinking.
And this case right next to the painting here has the examples of the carved figures that C.S. Price made, because he liked to paint from memory rather than from life.
Right.
And so in order to sort of set up his little scenes or his subject matter, he made these really primitive-looking wood carvings and some things out of paper. And you can see around the room, if you look around the room, you can see where he might have used some of these.
Absolutely.
I think it's interesting, too, to notice as abstracted as they are, the figures are, they're quite distinctive from each other.
Yes.
And the horses are, too.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's interesting, I think, to know that he would create the mountains in his little scenes that he would set up to paint from with his paint rags.
Ah, so that this idea that, the way this is kind of painted is set apart, this place, the West,
yes,
is set.
It couldn't be anywhere else.